Well, I took a day off to gather my thoughts, guys. That was one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever been through. I mean, man, you should have seen me at 11:30 p.m. or whatever time it was on my floor just watching that field goal go up. It looked like it was going to go in. It had the distance. And then like last minute it just curved to the left and when I heard that thing bounce, oh, man, I never want to live through anything like that again. But I will say this after collecting my thoughts, which I'm glad I did because I was a little bit more like just upset about the game in general as of yesterday. And the weird thing is that like I went in with the expectations that the Buccaneers would win. I did not think it would be competitive like that. I mean, I really had expectations that this is, a team that is better than any of the other teams that we've played. We've lost two out of our three games, and that's up to that point, by the way. Now we've lost three out of our four games. Um, and I really felt like we weren't going to be able to stay competitive because we weren't able to do that against the Saints. And I think this is really a testament to the Saints at this point. I think maybe they're even going to be able to compete with the Buccaneers in that division, which is crazy, but it seems that way. But the offense was able to get things done. And it's when they were trying the run game and the kind of short passing, safe game, that's when everybody was struggling. Mac Jones threw a pick during that kind of offense. But then we spread everything out and we start just kind of placing our trust in Mac Jones. No running back there, not even trying to trick them into thinking we're running because who in the world would run against them at that point when literally nothing was happening? And it all came together. I was so impressed with Mac Jones, and I really think the nation was. I think this is the big difference. I mean, you got to keep in mind this isn't just some normal game. This isn't just his normal breakout game. This was a primetime game, probably I mean, even a bigger moment than a normal primetime game because you're going against the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. Okay, so this is a lot more at stake here. And the way we saw Mac Jones just effectively take care of the ball and accurately place it where it needs to go and just gained my trust because, like let's say game one, when he was passing it, every single time you're like, ooh, what's going to happen here? Well, by the end of this game, this week, I was like, okay, we're about to get some stuff done. And whenever the Patriots got the ball towards the end of the game, I was like, all right, we're going to be able to move the ball. We're going to be able to move the ball. The only thing I was worried about is the other players letting him down. We had a couple drops, a fumble. I thought the first fumble was actually a fumble, the one they called and reversed and said it wasn't a fumble, it was a dropped pass. I feel like, and this is really where I'm being unbiased, but I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, this is a fumble. They're getting the ball. Like, I watched the replay. This is a fumble. But you know what? They said, hey, it's not a fumble. So I was like, well, whatever. I mean, I don't agree, but okay. But a lot of the players around Mac Jones, it was another case of just like not playing up to par. We saw Johnu Smith. Look, he made a nice comeback. He had a touchdown reception, made no mistakes. I can live with that as long as you're not, bobbling the ball in the air and creating pick sixes yourself. We can live with that. All right, so I'm happy with that. Hunter Henry, that was fine. We saw Kendrick Bourne kind of being more of a highlight player. I think so far Kendrick Bourne has actually been the better of the two free agent wide receivers. I think he's been better than Nelson Aguilar so far. And Nelson Aguilar has not been bad, just not super productive yet. But I think once Mac Jones opens up this offense, and I think they're going to start letting him do it, which is exciting to think about after last week. Why would you not roll into next week, kind of allowing him to just pass it freely after what we just saw? So I think the offense is going to open up a lot more from this point forward, unless we see any sort of regression with their trust in him. But at this point, I think he played nicely. And I mentioned in my things to watch and my players to watch video that watch for the offense to really be productive in this game because if they're not, that's kind of our ceiling for this year because this secondary, and they got even more injuries throughout the game, so they got even worse, is probably, I don't think they're necessarily the worst in the league, even though statistically to this point they are. My reasoning for thinking that is I was thinking about it during the game. Okay, their rushing defense is so good that teams just abandon the run and then just start passing. So obviously, if teams aren't running and they're only passing, statistically, you are going to be the worst passing defense. All right, if you're getting passed against, 40 to 50 times a game, other teams aren't getting passed against that much. So of course you're going to have more passing touchdowns on your team or against your team, better yet, and more passing yards if they're passing more times. Now, if they had that scary good run defense but also had a great secondary, that would be scary. All right, that would be scary because then it's like, what do? You know what I mean? You might as well send out the punting unit on first down. You're not going to do anything. So at this point, I think they're a little bit better than the stats would say. I still think they're a bottom 10 secondary in the league, and a passing defense in general. But I think they're going to get better as the year progresses. And I think a lot of it has to do with how good their running defense is. So that's just my 2 cents. Now that also leads me to it kind of leads me to think about how at the beginning of the year, we're talking about how to take care of a rookie the best way and really protect them. And one of the things is having a great running game. All right. And in this game, we did basically everything that would typically lead towards a rookie making mistakes. All right. Just freely letting him do whatever he wants, abandoning the running game. All right. High pressure, rainy conditions. All right. Terrible conditions. Tom Brady was throwing inaccurate passes. And it was amazing to see Mac Jones handle that pressure. Not only that, but also able to take care of the ball for the most part in those rainy conditions. There was the one interception, um, and I think what's going to help that is them opening up this offense to him and giving him more options, because when we're playing these very simplistic safe plays, it's easier for the defense to cover it up, and then Mac Jones feels like he has to force something. That's my theory as to what happened, because you would see nobody really getting open and there's a lot of pressure on him, and we're getting later in the game and it's like you got to make something happen. All right, you got to try something. That's risky, but we got to get something going. And that's when that mistake was made. But by the time we reached the end of the game, we were running with three wide receivers, one tight end, wide out, everybody wide out, spreading it out. And really, that's when things started to get good because Mac Jones would read one, two, three. He would read all these multiple routes and find the open guy. But I feel like in the beginning of the game, they're like, no, throw it here. Throw it to this guy right here, 1 yard out. Do not throw it anywhere else. And I think that's when, things were just slow and not really working. But once they're able to spread it out and place their trust in him, I think things are going to get a lot better. Clearly, this was Mac Jones' best game. Statistically, obviously, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I think, I'll take the 2 touchdowns, 1 interception as a good ratio. And, kind of outplayed Tom Brady. Obviously didn't win, but I mean, hey, our defense is a lot better. I will say that. I don't think it's because Mac Jones is better than Tom Brady. I think it's because our defense is far superior to their defense. But still nice to see him able to kind of handle that pressure and go out there and effectively, take care of the ball, pass it accurately. I mean, amazing to see. Amazing to see. Anyway, that's my initial thoughts. Mostly Mac Jones is kind of the highlight of this game. The defense stepped up. Hopefully we can look at this and say this team has improved. This is the reigning Super Bowl champions, a great team, high pressure situation with a lot of new faces, a lot of rookies, young players playing in this game. The rainy conditions, we weren't even able to run the ball. Typically, if you can't run the ball, you're at a disadvantage when it's terrible conditions like that. They were effectively running the ball on us. So I think that is part of the reason why they were having, more success on offense at certain points as well and they should have kept running it. I mean, they would have really beat us much better than that. It wouldn't have even been in that situation if they would have kept sticking with the run game. But it just felt like Tom Brady was coming out there and he's like, got to put up the numbers, got to put up the numbers. I don't know, like it didn't make sense to pass in that game because we weren't stopping the run. They were running like 7 to 10 yards each time they ran the ball. All right. And then they just kind of like stopped running it. It's like, why? Why go back to the passing game when it's not working? Anyway, next week we face the Texans. I almost said the Titans. The Texans. Hopefully we can take this confidence that we've built, this momentum, and now we can start winning some games moving forward. All right. Saints, Buccaneers, that's two of our hardest games this season. We have to play the Chargers, who are a lot better than we thought they'd be. That's another tough one. Titans later on in the year, if they have both their wide receivers back, that could be a tough one as well. Also, I think we face the Browns this year. So there are some tougher games, but I think, the Buccaneers and Saints might be two of the toughest. So to get those out of the way is nice, and hopefully we can start winning some games soon. But if not, at least, hey, let's be productive. Let's develop these rookies. Let's build some momentum and identity, and let's really get these free agents and rookies working together so that for years to come, we can have more success. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe for the best Patriots content on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next video.